Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation, where right and left come to be reasonable. I've got good news. Good news. The not-so-secret meeting with the vice president and the Epstein enablers at his house tonight is off. Late last night, reports said that the vice president was going to host Trump's chief of staff, FBI head Kash Patel, and the attorney general to game out how to handle the Epstein fiasco. Then, after the news leaked, Vance's spokesperson said that was fake news. Now we're learning that the meeting was, in fact, a thing and canceled. So they lied? I don't know, and I don't really care compared to the real takeaway. If they were meeting to figure out a spin strategy, which is my understanding, it is better they didn't meet. That's good news. And it gives them another chance to realize there is only one way out, and that is through, as in through releasing what they can. Now, here's my problem. I don't get why they haven't released anything since that February first phase dump. I don't get it. Now, some of you are going to say, duh, Trump is on the list. That's why they're protecting him. Look, I don't have any good reason to believe that, or that there is even a list or a file on Epstein's murder. I get why you suspect it, but we don't know that. And there's as much reason to not think it as there is to think it. But here's the part that I really can't figure out. You remember with the taxes back in the beginning when Trump fought it and fought it and fought it and then put out a gazillion pages on that table? Remember all that paper? We all had to hire tax experts to figure out what it was and what it wasn't. Why don't they do that now? They did the phase one, but why say nothing more just a few months after that? Why even say it? I don't get it. Why not have the attorney general clear up what was on her desk? It's so easy. Why hasn't it happened? I don't know. Now, there's another lesson from the massive tax dump story. We weren't satisfied with what was there. It was a lot, but it was too little. And I'm told part of the concern here is the same as it was at that time, that they won't be able to deliver on what is expected. Now, the problem with that is that's on them, okay? This isn't like the taxes where we were never going to be happy with whatever you gave us. It's your people who overpromised. Patel and Bongino, look, this isn't personal. I'm not against them. I'm not an Epstein conspiracy person, okay? But what's true is true. They made a killing in the MAGA pod world hinting Epstein was killed and that he had blackmail on powerful people and they may have killed him. I'm not saying this. They did.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list?
I think Jeffrey Epstein may have some videotape of people central to the Democrat and maybe Republican Party doing some things, let's just say, they shouldn't be doing. He may have been working with foreign intelligence services, and part of that work may have been getting some of these people on tape doing really bad things.
If they believed any of that back then, they certainly aren't saying it now. And Trump, the president of the United States, is paying for their perfidy. They should explain what changed to this.
As someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Now, look, by the way, is it enough? Probably not for you, but it is for me. Okay? At least now that they're in a position of power, they're saying what they believe to be true. All right? Now, I know for a lot of you, it's, oh, no. He said so many other things that they got to say they're sorry. Whatever. For me, I just want to move on from this. Okay? So if they just come out with like a memo explaining why there's no client list or something like that, look, there's going to be a problem, but at least you'd know. okay? And you know, short of that, they can just release, there's got to be surveillance video, okay? And I'm not saying of powerful people doing terrible things, but they got to have something. So whatever they have, show you. Just release whatever it is that you can, all right? And I know some things you can't. Explain it. Because in this vacuum, we're seeing people connecting the dots that don't exist, because that's how conspiracy think works. And you started it. This old document that I saw somebody put out today. They just dug up that Jeffrey Epstein was a snitch with the FBI. Breaking news. It literally said breaking. This is BS. This is real, but it's not new. This document gets rehashed again and again as breaking news. It's years old. It's like 2018. It was put out in 2023 by people. People claim it's proof that he was on the FBI payroll for years. Look, when you make a deal, a non-prosecution deal, okay, you have to tell them everything you know. And if they find out that you haven't, they pull the deal. And you also promise to cooperate, period, which is what that document says. Now, how do we know that just because that's what usually happens, that's what happened here? His lawyer told us. And common sense says, if he had informed on all these big shot people, as these people who are peddling this document want you to believe, where are they? The deep state really hit him? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Same is true with Maxwell. After her interview with Trump's number 2 at the DOJ, Maxwell got moved to a cushy prison in Texas. People went crazy. This is not unusual. She's doing them a favor. She wants a favor. And she is now a snitch. And there is a security concern for her around prisoners who do not like that. And this is often what is done in those cases. So is it true that pedophiles don't usually get put in nice prisons? Yeah, that's probably true. Certainly not early on anyway. But this is a deal. Is it unusual in a deal like this? No. So why make a big deal of it? This is what not releasing what you know does. Because now people are claiming that this is proof that Trump's going to pardon her. So she spills the beans on Democrats or doesn't spill them on him or whatever. I don't believe any of that. But if you don't release the transcript of her interview, you're asking for it. And you better explain while we're waiting at all. Like, why are we already waiting? Why? And here's another point for you on this. Russiagate, by timing and inclination, was absolutely a distraction from all this. And it worked. A Washington Post analysis of right-wing media influencers and podcasters found that when the DOJ said there was no client list, MAGA went crazy. Look at the spike in critical posts about this. Then, all of a sudden, right at the height, boom, there comes Gabbard with her aha. That was really additional info from the Durham team report years ago. The guy Trump picked to investigate exactly the issue. And he did not find it compelling enough to even include it in the main report, let alone bring a case on it. But it worked to distract MAGA. Those Epstein posts subsided, and anti-Obama posts shot up. Now, look, are there real questions about what the intelligence community did and didn't do in the Russia probe? Yeah, but that doesn't mean Epstein goes away. And the two involve a lot of the same people that were just subpoenaed by Comer. That's why I actually thought it was a Russiagate thing and it was an Epstein thing. And yet I argue Epstein, while I don't believe the conspiracy thing and the mythology of it around the murder and the list, the issue behind it all actually matters way more than Russiagate to me. If intelligence guys tip the scales, it wouldn't be the first time, it won't be the last, okay? Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. Should they do better? Yeah. Should there be accountability? Yeah. But, you know, I'm not so optimistic about that. But it also doesn't matter to me as much as powerful people doing the only thing we all agree on in society as a major wrong. You abuse a child, you're a monster, okay? And what Epstein is supposedly about, okay, which is money and privilege and power, no. He was abusing kids and likely a trafficker with Maxwell's help. And that is exactly how it happens in a lot of places in America. Did you know that each year, more than 100,000 of our children are victims of sexual exploitation or trafficked, forced into prostitution, killed, sold. This is just what's reported, by the way. The actual number of children that are victims of sex trafficking in America, the experts and the people who counsel these kids say it's probably a lot higher. So this is a real problem. And if powerful people engaged and escaped, it matters more than anything else that we're supposedly trying to get to the bottom of. But that takes me back to why I just don't get it. I don't get, when Trump knows the stakes here, why is he playing into the perception that he has something to hide? I don't get it. And I don't know that he has something to hide. And yes, you can beat me up about that. And I may be wrong, but right now you can't prove it. And if you can't prove it, then how else do we explain it? They campaigned on transparency. Biden's inflation and transparency, right? Immigration, of course, but I'm talking about thematically. And it's not happening. Not with Kennedy or MLK or UFOs or Epstein. There's no need to meet to make a plan. Just release what you can so we can move past this if there really is nothing. So to deal with this one, and what I believe is the actual major topic of discussion and the largest threat to the president, it's not Epstein and him being on some list. It's what the tariffs are doing to the economy as we head to the midterms. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.